right. Hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone, once again to our podcast, One Gen Talks a Lot. My name is Andrea, and I am still, again, your host for this podcast, where we have conversations with various guests. We deep dive into their stories and their perspectives in life. So we have arrived at the 5th episode of our podcast, and this time we're back to having a local guest with us after a few episodes of having some international guests, because local products are always better, right? So for this episode, we have a very special VIP with us. He's a politician. He's a member of the Parliament for Bangi, and a lawyer, which I think is quite a formidable combination in my opinion. So let's welcome Yang Berhormat Tuan Syahredzan Johan.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
So how are you doing today, YB?
Good. I'm really happy to be here. It's always good to talk to young people, especially when you're not so young anymore.
But you're still quite young.
Youngish. Yeah.
Right, so how are you feeling about coming to do a podcast? You mentioned just now that you don't do podcasts very often.
Not that often, but I know these days podcasting is something which is quite trendy, and a lot of people have jumped on bandwagon. But I think it's also a good way to reach out to people, in which you have conversations about various topics.
Yep.
So I think we have kind of moved on or moved away from the previous format of having forums, physical forums. Now the discussion is taking place in this sort of environment, in online, and it has a wider reach to a wider audience.
Yep. All right, so before we continue on, maybe you would like to give a brief introduction about yourself?
Okay. I am a first-term member of Parliament. I am at this point in time, this year would be 42 years old. I was born and raised in Petaling Jaya, so I'm not a Kajang boy, but I'm a PJ boy. But I would say that growing up in PJ actually prepared me to represent and to be with the people of Kajang, because I think there's a lot of similarities in terms of the demographics, in terms of how you have various races living together, going to school together. So it's quite similar to Kajang in that way. So engagements such as this is not foreign to me. So I suppose that has prepared me somewhat to actually be the representative of a part, of Kajang being a part of my constituency. And then at the same time, as you mentioned, I'm also a practicing lawyer. I believe this is my 16th year of practice. So that goes to show that I'm quite I'm not that young anymore lah. But at the end of the day, I was for the longest time a lawyer first before I made the jump to politics, and thereafter being asked to run in the general elections, and because of the support of the people of Kajang and many other places, I managed to get into Parliament, and now I'm the Member of Parliament for Bangi.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's maybe we can rewind time a little bit. We'll go back to your childhood years, maybe. So what was it like? What was your childhood like? What was YB like as a child? Were you the good kid in school? I mean, you studied law. You must have been a really, really excellent kid in school.
Actually, I wasn't that student at all, that kid at all. I was, I suppose, I would say that I was one of those nerds in school, but not the good ones who get good grades.
Oh, okay.
The ones who, outcasts, they're not popular. I come from a boys' school, so I was terrified of girls for the longest time, right up to the point where I entered college. So
from your primary school until your secondary school, it was
school,
all
boys. Okay. Yeah. So girls were terrifying. My childhood, although I think I was quite involved with a lot of literary competitions, both in Bahasa Melayu and in English.
That doesn't sound very nerdy to me.
I suppose that's the only thing which I, had some talent in. I was never a good footballer or a good badminton player.
So not a sports
not
person,
really a sports person. I think if you see a photo of me at that time, you realize what I'm talking about. So, but my father always had this dream for me, which is basically his dream, not really mine.
Okay.
For me to become a doctor. So
every Asian parent's dream for their children.
Yeah, and somehow I was the eldest. So he had this dream. So throughout my school years, it was always pivoting towards that. So I took science stream. I took subjects like biology.
Did you enjoy the science stream?
No, and that's the whole thing. The whole problem is that I was never made for studying medicine.
Yeah.
And so when I reached SPM, and my results in those science subjects were not excellent, and the fact that I had to really struggle for all the science and math subjects to even get the grades I got. At the end of the day, I had a long discussion with my parents, and I said that I'm going to struggle if I continue to go on this path of doing medicine. It's just not something which I'm good at. So, and I still remember my mother saying this. She said, why not you just take law since you like to talk a lot? So I suppose that's how I ended up taking A-levels in a private college. And in that A-levels subject, one of it is government and politics and also law. And I suppose that sparked my lifelong passion to read law and later on to practice law. So yeah.
Just a sidetrack question. I'm just curious. Just now you mentioned that you were a nerdy kid back in school, but not the studious kind of nerdy. So what kind of nerdy were you?
The ones who play video games, watch wrestling, thinks that he can be a wrestler, but nowhere near having the same athleticism to pull off.
I think everyone who watches sports think that they can do it.
Yeah. So and read books. I do read a lot of books when I was younger. Now I don't have that much time, so I've shifted to audiobooks. So if, say, for example, before I sleep or while I'm driving, so I'm listening to audiobooks. So I still get to consume books, but in a different way, simply because I don't have the same, I don't have the time and also the commitment to be sitting down and reading a book. You really need to just put aside everything to focus on a book.
But I also find it a bit hard to concentrate when I'm listening to audiobooks because my mind just wanders sometimes, and I realize that, I don't know what the person has been saying, then I have to backtrack.
That's right. So you have to, but the thing is about audiobooks is that you can do it as a multitask.
True.
Multitasking exercise. So you can be vacuuming your house, or as I said, driving, or just before you fall asleep, you listen to it. So that's why I think the shift to audiobooks still allowed me to consume books, but in a way which fits into my own schedule.
All right. So let's shift a little bit. Let's talk about leadership because that's what we're going to talk about today in our podcast. Were you involved in any leadership roles when you were in school?
Well, I was a prefect,
Pengawas.
pengawas, but that was in Form 2, I was a prefect. So I don't know whether you want to call prefects as leaders or this one, I see them more as like, enforcers.
It does take certain leadership skills to be,
And to be selected in the
Yep,
first
yep.
place, right? It's not like it's something you volunteer for. So there was that. But apart from that, in terms of leadership in an organization, not much in school. But I would say that my first exposure to leadership in an organizational setting would be in college. In university. When I studied law in Cardiff University, I offered myself to be the vice president of the Malaysian Student Society over there. And for some reason, even though before that I was not really involved with the Malaysian Student Society, for some reason, I think my speech at that time,
You had charisma.
I don't know whether you want to call it charisma, but my campaign speech, because we were given I think about 2 or 3 minutes to just campaign for it, was convincing enough that people voted for me, and I was put in the position to become the vice president of the Malaysian Student Society of Cardiff University. So that was, I think, my first foray into organizational leadership. And after that, after I graduated, called to the bar, I was involved with the Bar Council. I contested for leadership positions in the Bar Council, got in as well. I was then also appointed as the National Young Lawyers Chairperson for at least 2 terms. It's about 2 years. So those were my early exposures before I jumped into politics. Yeah.
So if you throw back to your first time stepping up, what inspired you or motivated you to go for that position back when you were in university? Like why? Because it's a voluntary thing, right? You had to step up and run for it. Why did you choose to do it?
I don't know. I think it's at first it was just to see whether I could take up the challenge. It's something new, but I suppose it's in line with the whole new setting that I was in, because leaving home, being in a foreign country and all that. So seeing whether I could, and at the same time also thinking that I could actually contribute to the Malaysian Student Society at that particular point in time. Thankfully, I managed to get in. I was elected, and I think the experience there, although we didn't do a whole lot of things, but we did organize events. We organized Malaysian Student Night, which is the biggest night for a lot of student societies in the UK, Malaysian student societies in the UK. And I think, like I said, I think it exposed me to being in a leadership position in that sort of organizational structure where you have to have meetings, you have to organize things, and so on and so forth. So, and then of course, with my involvement with the bar, it's different motivation of wanting to actually contribute to society, wanting to actually do positive change for the country, but doing it through this mechanism or this platform of the Bar Council. Yeah.
So what was your learning curve like in leadership? Because obviously you just don't step into leadership and know how to do everything automatically. So what was it like? What was the experience like stepping in, maybe trying, failing, not knowing what to do, but then learning? What was the experience like for you?
I think in terms of, at least, like I said, I think the Malaysian Student Society pretty much there's a set template.
Yeah.
It's difficult to go unless you really want to do something new and different, right? But if not, you're just doing the same things that have been done previously,
Yeah.
but
It's
you
a
know,
typical
different.
uni
Yeah,
club kind of
typical
thing.
units.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of the bar council experience, I was lucky because I was exposed to the work in the bar council in terms of the activism by the bar council before I jumped into the leadership structure. So I was involved with, a lot of public interest litigation. I was involved with a lot of advocacy that was being pushed by the bar council. I was involved with campaigns. So all that occurred before I stepped up to become or to offer myself to be in a leadership position by contesting the bar council elections and subsequently being appointed to becoming chairpersons of various committees, including the National Young Lawyers Committee. So, of course, once you have that sort of experience, I think it makes it easier for you to step into that role because you already know the challenges, you already know how things work, and you already know what would be the best way to approach certain things. And I think a lot of the times, I think it's very important for anyone who wishes to offer themselves into leadership position to understand the organization first, not just jump into it and thinking that you can just navigate the challenges just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To know what they are actually doing by stepping into this position.
I think more than anything is the knowing also the limitation and challenges that's involved with the task at hand, right? It's one thing having aspirations, one thing to have goals, but you must know the limitations so that you can work around it or you can overcome it.
To also be realistic and
Yes,
not
right.
just,
Expectation setting is also important.
Right. So having said that, what do you think are the key challenges for today's youth in realizing their potential to be able to lead, and also having that, then actually stepping up to lead, to be in leadership positions?
I think the challenge of young people fundamentally is the same throughout the years.
You think it hasn't changed over generations?
I would say that the fundamental challenges, which is basically how you want to make sure your voices are heard. Previously, before social media, for example, it was done through activism on the ground. You would have protests, you had pickets. If you're talking about political activism, right? You'd have those kind of things. Then you had social media, which allows a new form of expression where people can actually show their opinions about a certain matter, and it is accessible to a larger group of people. But also at the same time, with the current social media landscape, where there's actually too much social media, the challenge now is how do you then differentiate yourself
From
amongst
the
the sea
people.
of people who are expressing themselves, And that's a different, fundamentally it's how to make your voices heard, but it has changed because while before this, you if you have a platform, you're able to reach out to a certain group of people. Now, because there's too many, it's more difficult.
Saturated.
Saturation. So it's more difficult for your voice to be heard. So I think that's one challenge. And I think sometimes also I see that in this pursuit of trying to be heard or trying to differentiate or trying to show yourself as different from others, I think young people, but not exclusively young people, but a lot of young people feel that they need to do something different to catch the people's attention.
Sometimes outraging.
And all that, just to get that sort of spot in the limelight. So I think that is also the challenge that is being faced by young people. But at the same time, I do think that you now have more tools at your disposal than perhaps during my time. Now you've got all these things. You've got podcasts thing on top of TikTok, on top of the more traditional sort of social media, like X and Facebook. If young people are still on Facebook, which I don't think they are, Instagram and all that. For Chinese speaking youths, you've got the Little Red Book. So all these different sort of platforms, it's all there. It's how you then utilize these tools to ensure that whatever you're saying, number one, is being heard, and number two, is being taken into account.
So since you mentioned social media, how do you think we as youth, we can leverage on these tools effectively? Or maybe not just the youth, the nation, the community as well. How do we allow youth to leverage on these tools?
I think with social media right now, is so ingrained into the discussion, the discussion that the nation has. A lot of the times, people take what is being mentioned in social media as word on the street, as being representative of the larger community concerns. While that may be true for a certain segment, it's not true for all. So certain things might have a lot of social media noise, but at the same time, if you go to the ground, people don't really feel that it's a big issue. But it's just that it becomes a lot of social media chatter and things like that. So I think understanding that is important. But at the same time, I would also say that on top of using social media, you also now have a political class that is much younger than before. I think if you look at the average age of people who are in parliament now, is much younger than previous times. Perhaps still not enough young people, if you're talking about young people under 30. But there's more and more of MPs in parliament who are below 30. And being elected in your 20s is no longer something which is extraordinary, but it's something which can and have occurred. If previously, in the previous parliament, people like YB Syahredzan, became like the flag bearer of young people. Now, there's actually more young people who are under 30. People like YB Dr. Taufik from Sungai Petani, for example. I think currently he is the youngest one. And also there's a lot of people who are in their 30s. My colleague, YB Yang Safura from Bentong, is in her 30s. And there's also a lot of people who are like me who are in their 40s. So the average age of MPs is on a downward trend. So it means that there's more people, more MPs who are closer to your age as compared to when I was a young person. See? So that means that these people are more in tune to what is being said or being talked about by young people. And the other difference is also the fact that now, whether political parties like it or not, they have to engage with younger people because of the amendments to allow 18-year-olds to only 18 to vote. So, and we know if you neglect the young people, you do so at your own peril. And we have seen how, just being frank, how my coalition, we were not able to gain the votes of young people from a certain ethnic demographic, and a lot of places we could not win. So this is the importance of constantly engaging with young people. And politicians these days, they cannot expect young people to come to them. They have to go to where they are. So you have to go to the podcasts, to TikTok. Everyone now, every politician has a TikTok account. I was following the Singapore elections, and inundated with content from Singapore. By all the candidates and all that, which is of course similar to us as well. But I think because it's the most recent elections, which by our neighbors, I could actually see how all these candidates are trying to reach out to young people through the platform of TikTok and Reels and so on and so forth, and also including podcasts such as this. So I think that's how. The difference is that you have all these platforms which you have, so you need to take this opportunity to really engage with all these younger politicians, and to make them see what your challenges are and what you want them to hear from you.
So you mentioned that these are platforms that we can use to engage young people more, right? Then what are the ways do you think that we can use, that we can do to empower youth to actually step up, to be more involved? Maybe not just in politics, but in the community, in the country affairs, things like that. What do you think we can do to empower them more to step up?
I think the first thing is you need to organize yourselves into a collective of young people, of like-minded young people, and then from then on, you push as a platform to what you want to see. So, for example, if your church here, you feel strongly about certain issue, local issue, traffic jam perhaps, or the state of roads in Kajang, for example, you come together. And you get like-minded young people come together, and demand or ask for a meeting with your elected representatives, with me perhaps, to to present your views about these things. And if you have ideas about how to make it better, or how you want to ensure that the complaints procedure is better, and so on and so forth. I think that's something that can be explored. But I think it's important to actually first organize yourself into a collective. I always say that because I think when you have a voice representing a group, it's always much stronger and more potent and more likely to be given the chance to air those views. Instead of being just yourself, Andrea. Of course you can do that. Influencers, if you have a lot of clout, then you can do that. But I think if you don't have that, but you come together as a collective, then you are able to voice out, and it becomes quite potent because your voice then represents a segment of society which cannot be ignored.
So what I'm hearing is that first, unity is very important. As best as possible to get a group of people together. If you have like a similar passion, if you have a similar passion for a certain issue that you want to address, and then also to be proactive in reaching out to
the stakeholders. Not necessarily the elected reps, but if you're talking about a local issue, then perhaps with Majlis. If you are in a setting of a university or a college, to the administration. So finding ways to engage with stakeholders, with people in positions of power and control, and looking at the best way to do that.
I think that's actually where a lot of the times we are kind of stuck. The first step to do it, actually taking that first proactive step to reach out to the stakeholders to voice out about an issue, because a lot of the times we think that, oh, they won't do anything, or it's a lot of trouble to take that first step and to do something.
But let me also share, I think, again, with the younger breed of politicians these days, I think a lot of us are happy to sit down and engage, especially with young people. I can share with you that a lot of the programs that I get invited to are organized by older people. You have the Residents Association, Persatuan Penduduk, or you have what do you call that, surau or mosque event, or in a temple. But a lot of the times, people who are the committees of these organizations are older people. So if you have younger people coming forward to engage, I think it would be a breath of fresh air to a lot of politicians, and they will give you the time of day to listen to you. Whether they act on it or not, whether they can do anything to what your concerns are, it's a separate thing. But just sharing with you that I always see a lot of times that all these organizations, local residents associations, temple committees, surau mosque committees and all that, they are a lot of times they are filled with older people. And sometimes it's difficult to see younger people, and if they are there also, it's because they've been dragged by their parents, right? So it's always so it will be a breath of fresh air, and I do think that a lot of politicians would actually at least sit down with you and listen to your concerns.
I think one thing that I have experienced, because in my line of work, I have the opportunity to work with young people, with youth. So one thing that I noticed, it's challenging to get them to really think about the community. Because I work with B40 urban youth, and it's a bit challenging to get them to think about, contributing to the community, to think about the community as a whole. Because a lot of the times, they are just fixed, their mindset is just fixed on themselves and their families. So what do you think about this?
I think it's understandable, because it's all about priority setting, right? If you come from an underprivileged family, where it's difficult for you to even go through day by day, or there's limited resources, it's very difficult for you to then think about the community. Because your priority is always food on the table, or if your parents are not so well off, how to support your parents and things like that. But that also means that because it's difficult for them to think about the community, then it also means that the community is then neglected. So a good example, I'm sure you would have also been exposed to this, where you go to these low-cost housing areas, low-cost apartments and Pasapuri, where they don't have a joint management body to even manage the buildings. And because nobody takes up the challenge, or nobody takes up the leadership position to take care of the area, the Pasapuri, therefore it comes to the conditions becomes worse and worse, and it's a vicious cycle, and nobody wants to take it up, and so it becomes so I think that is the sad reality of things, where because of you have different priorities, which is understandable. It also means that these communities are more neglected, are more marginalized, because they themselves have not been able to organize themselves to then speak up or to try and do better for the community. So I think this is something which, as policymakers, we need to look at the root causes as to why is it that these people do not have that sense of community belonging, and how do you then foster it? So I would just like to share in Bangi proper, Bandar Baru Bangi, there is this initiative called the Adab Youth Garage, in which they provide for a place for young people who have nowhere to go, to actually give them a place for them to essentially lepak, but also get classes, spiritual guidance and all that. So instead of them, doing things which they're not supposed to do, at night, rempit or whatever, so they can then go to this place where
It's
they
a safe and a
safer
healthy
this one,
environment.
and they feel a sense of belonging
Yeah.
to that place. And I think this is something which we can look at in a lot of places, but of course it needs a lot of support as well. On our part, whatever we can do to support, we have supported, but I think it needs to also be, the support needs also to come from not just government, but also the community as well. So I think that's maybe one way to see how we can actually ensure that these communities, these B40 or underprivileged communities, are able to also ensure that their community needs are taken care of.
All right. So we're nearing the end of our episode. Just before we end, YB, I would ask if you have any final words, any advice, any encouragement that you have for the young people listening to this podcast, to encourage them to start making a difference today, to step up into leadership positions, or to encourage them to be involved in politics in our country.
I think young people need to understand that throughout history, change has been made by the efforts of young people. When young people move, they can move mountains. So, and especially now, in this current climate, I think the voices of young people needs to be heard loud and clear. And I know sometimes maybe it seems frustrating because you feel that whatever you are saying is not being heard. But I would say that that's not the case. The government, the political leaders, the stakeholders are listening to what young people are saying. And they are always trying to adapt to the changing landscape and to the demands of young people. So never give up. If you feel that you want to see a better country, a better community, a better nation, work towards it. Because if you stop trying, then the change will never happen. But if you continue to strive for it, if you work hard towards it, then change, I truly believe that you can actually work towards the change, and it can happen. So never give up, and always, always, always continue to speak up. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much, YB, for coming today and for sharing. This topic is actually very close to my heart. Youth and leadership is something that I feel very strongly about as well, because it's also part of my line of work. So thank you so much for sharing. It was a very interesting conversation that I had with you. It's very inspiring as well. So thank you so much. And thank you so much, audience, for tuning in today. remember that our podcast is released, our episodes are released every month. So do tune in to our next episode next month. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.